purpose. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in at Tick Weeknights. Harrison Arns, ones and twos, as always. Once again, apologies. No Kansas City Royals still working on that tower, but we do got our guy actively working on it. He was on the roof today in the scorching heat. So just believe we are trying to get that thing back up for you guys. We love the Royals. We know you guys love the Royals, and they do have another game tonight. Obviously, 6:40 should have started off by now, probably in that first inning. Kansas City Royals, they do got the Washington Nationals, and they are up already 1-0, top of the second inning. Washington Nationals, again, with a record of 47-71, down 0-1 to the Kansas City Royals with a record of 59-60. Royals one game away, trying to catch back to being at 500. But we got Tristan Gomes to my left, and if you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685. Tristan, how's it going on a Tuesday?
Doing well. Solid Tuesday out here in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's getting hot again. Probably pretty humid from all just the weather and rain we've had, but wish we could get back to our 75 degrees we had a little bit last week.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's still some remnants of the storms we had. I won't blast where I live, but there's a huge branch that's just been like dangling, and it's been driving me crazy because every time I'm like, it's far away enough from the sidewalk, but I'm like, someone's gonna walk under that eventually, and I just feel like the thing's gonna fall down. But shout out to everyone who, for the most part, has it pretty cleaned up. The city of Lincoln, they worked pretty quickly on it. I was, again, I'm working the night shift here. It was about like 11 o'clock when I was getting closer to home, and I saw some tree services still on their trucks. LAS was working on some power lines. So I think we're mostly out of the woods, and shout out to everybody who kind of putting all the pieces back together after a rough weekend. But we got plenty of things to talk about. We can go, well, let's get the first news out of the way. Rondell Moore. Brutal. He goes out again. People might have been aware of it already that he got hurt. Now it's going to be another season-ending injury, not career-ending, but that's back-to-back years for Rondell Moore. And you mentioned it at Purdue. He was the guy. I mean, that was the squad right there. What are your thoughts on Rondell Moore? Like, can he bounce back after two back-to-back injuries? I was already like kind of hope. I just don't know like what that looks like. 2 years completely off after the freak athlete that he was.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where he's still Rondell Moore. He's the guy that we saw at Purdue that upset Ohio State, that just was unbelievable at Purdue. Just what a talent. And when it comes to injuries like this, it's not that, all right, are they going to bounce back? Are they going to be that same athlete? I don't think we can expect him to come back next year and just start putting up unbelievable numbers. He's going to have to build his way into it. Is it going to be tough? Is it going to be a struggle? Yes. But I think maybe he just next year he builds into it a little bit more, gets a little bit more confident, gets a few more passes, makes some big plays. And then after that, your career can go anywhere. So I don't want to just like shut the door completely. It is hard. And injuries, I mean, to have a long career in the NFL, half of it's talent, half of it's luck. And so I think hopefully he has a great recovery and we see him out here next year. Just making plays and slowly has that career we were hoping for.
Yeah, I just hope to see it at this point. Again, like it's just one of those guys that catches your eye when you bring a program like Purdue, who was, they're better than what they even are right now. But still, I mean, he was incredible over there, and that's just tough here. Back-to-back years going down hurts. In some other news, well, not really a whole lot of other news, I want to quick ask you. We talked a little bit yesterday, preseason. Ty Robinson had some good moments. Fedoni had some good moments. Are we missing any Huskers that also were having some great moments out there preseason wise?
Yeah, I was trying to think of who else. I mean, we touched on Adrian. I still consider him a Husker.
Did Tommy Hill ever get an opportunity?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he got out there or not.
Because crazy he got undrafted.
Yeah.
And his whole career is really...
I believe he signed, but I'm not sure if we saw him out there this past weekend.
I think that might be everybody that we can really name. And 402-464-5685. You guys can chime in if you want to, because we're going to dive into Huskers here. That's why I asked the question there. But we do got Magic in here wanting to listen to Royals. Oh, he says we're better than the Royals. Okay, I appreciate that, Magic, but try telling the Royals fans that it's always a little bit different of a ball game. And we do love the Kansas City Royals again. If you guys want them, hopefully we can get that fixed later. But right now, just local, me and Tristan. We got plenty. We got stuff from Snow and Eckler transitioning to some Husker football here. Who do you want to hear from first? Phil Snow, the associate head coach, or what's the title? Is it associate?
It's associate head coach.
Yeah, associate head coach. I think mainly on that defensive side of the ball, or of course Mike Eckler, the special teams guru, who everyone's excited about.
Let's go with Mike Eckler. I was happy to hear about him and Archie Wilson and just that relationship they have. And special teams has been something that Nebraska needs to improve on if we want to be at the top of the Big Ten. So let's hear from Mike a little bit.
All right, we've got Mike Eckler, who's playing starters or non-starters. Mike Eckler's answer on that.
Yes and no. I think I told you last time, but for the last 4 years, I mean, we didn't play one starter. And we didn't not only play one, I mean, it was true freshmen walk-ons. That's what we played with, right? Here, and I think there's a great balance. I mean, if you have a star receiver, for example, and he's maybe just a little bit better than a guy, on punt return coming off the edge or doing a certain job or kickoff return, I would prefer to play the younger guy. Leave some tread on his tire, get that guy involved in the game, right? Get him that game experience. So if it's close, I want to go with that. I want to go with that younger guy. And I want to go, but, not with the expense. If there's a big gap, no, I'm not doing that. So that's kind of.
So he is a bigger fan of, and I think most coaches are, let's get the young guys the reps on special teams. But then Bo Pelini's eras in particular, he had a lot of some of his starters out there. When you were playing at the high school, how big was your class?
My graduating class probably had about 600.
Jeez. Okay. How big was the football team?
We had a pretty solid amount, probably 70 guys on our sidelines on Fridays.
Okay. What was your coach's philosophy? Because I feel like every coach is a little bit different. Do you have a lot of starters out there on special teams, or was it like freshmen, sophomore, or guys that are just on that varsity squad?
Yeah, we had pretty much all starters. It was pretty much our guys on defense, our linebackers. They were on our special teams, our punt coverage, our punt team, and then our skill players, our best players were the ones back there returning, which I like that philosophy.
Yeah, I think you would definitely want some of the best skill players out there on the return, because when you have a guy like the Morning Personnel, it's like you're gonna say special teams are too good. Same thing with Barney. He's been really optimistic, wants to not only lead the Big Ten, but I believe he said nation.
Yep.
And was it kick or punt return yards?
I believe punt return.
Punt return yards, which that'd be fantastic. If you can get close to that, 10-yard average, that's similar to that DeMornay Pierce-Nell territory. Easier said than done. What are your thoughts on Mike Eckler, though, that he does like those younger guys? And it probably does shift once you get to college, because those rosters get so much bigger. Yeah, the rosters get bigger, and then also I think the importance of your go-to guys is way bigger. Obviously, if we have a receiver or a DB or even a linebacker that we're putting on punt or punt return, and God forbid something does happen, you're really frustrated with yourself. When, like you said, if that gap isn't too big, get the younger guy some reps, get him the confidence that, okay, I can play in a college football game. And honestly, knowing that that's their only job is probably, they're going to take a lot more pride in it, is they're going to be out there on special teams and say, like, this is my shining moment for the game. I got to be sure that I'm locked in. I get everything done correctly. And then the following year, it just lets them know, like, all right, I've played in a game. I didn't go all year without playing because they played a few other guys. So I like the mindset. Yeah, and then again, keyword close, because when you get the inexperienced guys and you get the leaky run lanes because you get people over pursuing, that's the risk you certainly pull. But yeah, I mean, it just lets guys go get some contact out there, especially if it is one of those backup death players. Like if they got a few special teams plays out there and someone does go down, at least they're not just coming in there absolutely ice cold, and they've at least ran up and down the field a few times on special teams. Let's hear a little bit more from Mike Eckler here. Let's hear about the kickers. Obviously, there's been some buzz around there. One guy in particular, and Archie Wilson. But let's hear about the actual kickers themselves now.
I won't get into where everybody's at, other than I'll just say this. At the end of next week, we'll name a guy, and we'll roll. And we got a close battle right now. They've all done some nice things, and again, we're going to need all three of them. So it's not where you start, it's where you finish, right?
So yeah, no idea on who the kickers are. You feel good or bad about it?
I don't feel awful. I feel like when it comes to, I hope this is the case, is that, all right, we have a few guys that are all doing pretty solid. They all could be our starting kicker. We're just waiting to see who sets themselves apart, or maybe who we have the most confidence in when it comes to maybe kicking a long field goal, or when it gets to crunch time, who's, going to be the most confident out there. So I'm hoping that that's the reason, is that, all right, we have a few guys that are pretty similar. They all can, make their field goals. But once we get into a game, once we get into crunch time, who's going to be the guy that can really take over? So I'm not too worried about it. I hope that we don't have any of those blunders or, worries we've had in the kicking game previously in previous years. But I'm not too worried about it. And I do like how, next week we're going to find out. And I think end of next week, we're probably going to find out, who's starting at pretty much every single position, if there are any other question marks. So not too surprised by that.
Yeah. And to be fair, Matt Rule did say, I keep referencing, but like the last scrimmage was midterm, the one's coming up is like the final. So we will have a lot better finality on what this is going to look like. Obviously, always it changes if some guys are slacking or if other people get hurt, but we'll have a pretty good feel about who those guys are going to be. And once they have that locked in, we'll probably hear their names being dropped in the podium at those press conferences, and we'll be playing Cincinnati before you know it. Let's hear some more just again on that mentality. Before we do that, what has been the biggest weakness for the special teams over Nebraska, say for the past 5 years?
I want to say consistency, but I don't know that we can say consistency when it doesn't seem like we've had just like extraordinary games on special teams that we've just kind of dominated. I think just maybe pride. I think just the idea that, all right, when the special teams has to go out there, whether it's return or kickoff, punt, any of them, the guys out there just need to make plays. And I think for so long, it was almost like, all right, let's just try to get through this play. Let's get through this instead of like this. We could use this as a weapon. We could dominate it. So I think maybe the biggest struggle is that it hasn't been something that Nebraska has taken advantage of, but something that they've just trying to, get past. Well, we look at teams like Iowa who just dominated, and maybe there are games that Iowa doesn't deserve to win or have the success that they do, but they've just won the special teams battle enough to the point that they do win. So I think needs to be the difference.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's just like, let's just get it right this time, as opposed to the feeling like it's a real weapon for you guys. Like, I mean, for Iowa, that's like the shiniest weapon they have every year. They really figured out a way to dial up their special teams, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're just can constantly you're good enough where you can pin your guys back all the time, within their 10, right, backed up in their end zone. Like, it doesn't matter how good that offense is to a degree, but that's just a tough deal when you got a really good defense and you got special teams who can just keep playing that field game. And that's where to me Nebraska's really struggled. Like, we've had the turnovers, of course, that haven't helped, but even on some of our punts, our kickoffs, it's like we're really struggling to win the field position.
Yeah, not helping ourselves whatsoever. And one thing I am really curious about is I know Eckler kind of touched on is if there's a young guy that's close to maybe a guy that is a starter. What does he kind of do? He goes with the, non-starter, but I'm really curious what he does with Ja'Cory Barney, who I'm excited to see. I hope we get to see him on punt return, just because you look at some of these great teams, these great college football teams, and you look at Alabama when Nick Saban was there. And I wrote down a few names of who their punt return leaders were with Nick Saban there. And it was Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, who won a Heisman, and Jamison Williams. So they're pretty much their best players. Their best athletes are the guys they're putting back there. So, because it can make a huge difference. I mean, think of it. If your offense doesn't have to get tired or drive the length of the field, because all you got to do is put your Corey back there and he'll run it 70 yards for a tutty. So
look at Iowa. Exactly.
Cooper DeJean was doing it. So it could just make a huge difference when you have arguably the best athlete on the field with the ball.
Well, let's hear about that, because he talks about Barney and his energy. Here's Mike Eckler talking about Ja'Cory Barney.
Go back to doing this for 23 years. First question NFL scouts ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does he love the game? That's who he is. I mean, if there's an 11, he's an 11. I mean, when he was a little kid, I'm sure out in the backyard, they didn't have to twist his arm to go out there and play ball. I'm sure he was the kid rounding up everybody in the neighborhood and getting them ready to roll. So, I mean, he just loves the game. I love that. I respect that about him. And not only does he love it, he respects the game. You respect the game by going out and playing your his A off. And that's what he does every day.
There you have playing his EA off. I like that from Mike Eckler, slipping in, finding ways to tune his language for the podium a little bit there. But that's what you want to hear. I mean, that's the number one thing you want to hear. You need guys that love it, especially in today's era of NIL. I think it's really easy for guys to get the check and kind of coast. Like, they still like the game. They still work. They still go to practice. It's not like they're taking everything off. But when it was really NFL or bust for some of the best athletes, I mean, that's what drove them nuts, because they were going to class. They were going to brutal practices, and they weren't getting a dime to their name. Maybe some guys were, but not legally. Anyways, thoughts on just the energy and passion Mike Eckler talks about when he's referring to Ja'Cory Barney's love for the game.
I love it. It gets me fired up, just because that's the thing that's been maybe the biggest change. Besides, I mean, like, we talk about how these guys are in college now and they're making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and it's like, wow, that's cool. They got all this money, but I think we have kind of seen a decline in the love of the game. You know, NFL GMs more than ever, like, does this guy really love ball? I think Cam Ward's a guy that is easy to see. GMs loved him just because he was like, I play football, that's what I do. And Ja'Cory Barney is just giving me the same vibe. And when you have an athlete like that, just a talent, and you can think of any way to get him the ball, give him opportunities to have the ball, because he's going to be so appreciative every time he has the ball in his hands, and magic's going to happen. So I love that. And I think that's kind of the culture that Nebraska needs, and that can maybe just rub off when your star player, your best player, is a guy that's willing to just put it all on the line, and there's no one telling him like, hey, we need you to try a little harder or do a little bit more. And he just is like, you don't have to tell me that. I'm going to do it every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really what makes the GOATs. Like, you think of Tom Brady, had no reason to keep going. And like today, you can tell, shout out to him for roasting the Jets with this new statue as well. Mocking those guys. Like, at least you guys can take a look at what did he say? Take a look at what greatness, or something along the lines.
No, it was this was built for Pats fans, obviously, and then for Jets fans to throw their beers at after the second quarter. So,
oh yeah, shout out to Tom Brady. But like, that's a guy who, you know, I think today he probably still watches games, and he's like, I miss it so bad. Like, he probably will be 70 thinking like, I could at least get a drive.
Yeah,
I could put a drive together, I bet, if I had the good offensive line. And, you know, Kobe Bryant, same thing. People loved him because he loved the game. Michael Jordan, name any GOAT. Roger Federer, like, you could pick any sport. The greats are the people who, once they got the money and they got the fame, like, nothing changed. In fact, they got to like a whole another level, which, I mean, I never try to throw too much shade, but, you know, that's why I think when you get to the greatest of all time debate, Michael Jordan or LeBron, where do you fall on this?
Oh gosh, we're getting into this. You know, I'm probably gonna get yelled at in the comments and just be told that I'm a young head and I never watched Jordan play, but I got to go with LeBron. I mean, and when I just think of the game of basketball, and I think if in one-on-one, who do I think would win? I would go LeBron. And then I don't think you can compare eras too much, because I think that if LeBron was in that era, people would say, well, he couldn't handle the physicality. It's like, but he would adjust, right? And then you would say some things about MJ in this era and how, like, oh,
LeBron would adjust, certainly.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, MJ wouldn't be able to handle, you know, the shooting maybe. And it's like, well, if he grew up in a game where like shooting 3-pointers was a way bigger thing and like almost expected, Michael Jordan would have figured it out and he still would have been great. So tough to, you know, compare eras, but I'm going to bring my youth in and go with LeBron.
Okay. I mean, LeBron, he plays a lot. You know, he's barely been injured in his career. I just wanted to take a shot and see if I could sway you over to the right side. But no, I mean, it's a common trait that, especially in today's era, I think it's more important than ever with NIL going on. You need to make sure you guys are actually in love with the game. Because I don't know, do you think NBA is always one that sticks out to me? I feel like there is a little bit of a lack of thirst to be the greatest now. It feels like some guys are okay just kind of cruising through once they get in there, and like, and maybe that's, again, I maybe just being a romantic old head about it, but I wonder if, like, because again, if you're in Michael Jordan's era, the money you were getting was not, it was good money, but if you really wanted the big money, you had to be the best. Today, you know, you can be on the freaking practice squad and you could buy a beautiful home on like a beach. Like, you got all the, especially if you're in a nice state for taxes, like Florida, like, you would be doing thriving.
Yeah.
So do you ever think, like, do you think that actually has any real effect into players' competitiveness now today? Because they did get to the highest level. So there's some part of them that had to be competitive to get to that point.
Yeah, 100%. I do think there is a change. I mean, you think of even the Dream Team. You hear about the documentary, and you hear about how Jordan just handled it, and how when he showed up, he was like, "You guys are all kind of lazy. Like, no wonder I'm the one winning championships and you guys aren't, or like I'm the one that's dominating this league and you guys aren't, because my practice is way better than all of your guys's." And then for the Redeem Team, Kobe was up at 4 a.m. and I think some of the guys, there's a story of some of the guys were coming back from going out at 4 a.m. and they see Kobe leaving and they're like, "What is going on? Like, where are you going?" And he's like, "I'm going to the gym." And then it just became a thing where all these guys were like, "All right, this is the standard to be great." And I think nowadays, the money is so glamorous, the lifestyle is so glamorous that it's like, am I going to be the next LeBron? Probably not. Can I be a solid role player and be in this league and just maintain that? Sure. So I think maybe just the idea of maintaining is a little bit more than being the greatest in this day and age.
Yeah. And, I can't say like I wouldn't be the same way. It's great when you get that much money, like you can kind of, and then you get 25, 26, 27, 28, like you can get into that coast mode, but people that's what makes like people's favorite players is the guys that go out there day in, day out, and they're just absolute nose to the grindstone. Because you get Jordan B chiming in here. Cam Ward has been nothing but impressive. No number one pick has been talked about less than him, especially at QB. And like Cam Ward he has been a story just because of his comments and just because he's then been that guy who's willing to put in hard work, who I believe he shouted out his dad. Like my dad used to get up at like 4 or 5 a.m. all the time. So I'm making all this money. And he kind of talks about what we're talking about, with the opportunity that I have, why would I squander it?
Yeah. Why would I let it go to waste? Why would I not appreciate every single thing that he has? And he's been put in a really tough situation, if we're being honest, in Tennessee, just with the coaching staff there and the lack of success previously, especially for young quarterbacks already. But I think just having that mindset, he's like, I just want to play football and I'm going to do whatever I can to be the best. So I'm not expecting Cam Ward to just go ballistic this year and be unbelievable, but I do think we're going to see a lot of just signs of maturity that maybe we haven't seen from, early draft picks in previous years, where they're just like, yeah, this is what I've done. I've made it. I'm good. Or kind of have that, fashion to them where they're looking at the cameras and showing off a little bit. Cam Ward just seems like he's putting his head down, he's going to work, and I'm excited to see what he does, not only on the field but off the field, just with his humility.
Yeah, I'm really rooting for him. He is it's been a fun story. Like I didn't realize how humble of a guy he really was. And again, when you're the quarterback and you're probably been the superstar your entire life, to keep a level head like that, and then now you're in the league and like you're still shouting out your family for that's how you are the guy you are today. It gives me some hope for the Titans, but it still might be a tough year for him.
It's going to be an uphill climb for sure,
because he just doesn't have a whole lot of help at his side. We got to wrap it up here. Give me the toughest player in the NBA, toughest player in the NFL.
Toughest player in the NBA. Toughest player in the NFL, I'm going to go with an end of some sort. I'm going to go like TJ Watt. Like, I feel like he's a guy that everyone just has to stop. Like, and he just gets double teamed. Aaron Donald, I want to say, was a very similar way when he was playing. So I'm going to go with like, those are two guys that play a tough position where it's like, you're going to get like bullied. Like they're going to go out of their way to try to stop you. And they do it. And the NBA, I'm trying to think of, just a guy that, like,
Lou Dort, maybe.
Lou Dort.
You're thinking more role players.
I think more role players. Yeah, I think that's the tougher part. Is they're not just like the superstars that are scoring all the time. Like it's the guys that are like, I gotta get physical.
Hallie Burton.
Yeah,
he wanted it really bad.
He did. Yeah, and then you could even say, like Kobe would have been the easy answer. Like when he was playing, it's like there's no one tougher than him. Like Hal even said how crazy it was that Kobe tore his Achilles and still shot a free throw and then walked off. And like Hallie and Tatum were like in shambles, understandably, but like how tough Kobe was to just be like, all right, I'll knock down these free throws.
Yeah, we took it for granted. Like me, because again, I have Lakers shorts and I got a Lakers hat. I got all that stuff just because of Kobe. I like the Bulls, but I kind of got, I would be lying if I said I didn't get swayed into the bandwagon a little bit, because it got to the point I was like, this guy is, how can you not root for him?
He's a dude. Yeah.
He just wants it so much more than everybody else. And of course, that game with the Golden State Warriors, and he goes down, and to your point, he doesn't really make any faces. Like he makes faces like, it hurts.
But it's just like not even like a tear.
Yeah. He just knows.
Yeah.
And then he walks, a solid distance, drills them both, and then walks back on himself as well. And to your point, Halliburton, that was one of my favorite interviews because he's just talking about like, I was thinking Kobe, I knew I had to do it. And he just like he's like, oh hell no. Like there's no way he did this. He got up on his own 2 feet and then walked across the court and drilled 2 free throws. It just tells you why Mamba mentality stuck around.
Yeah.
Like just an unreal effort. And that's why he's always going to be, in my mind, one of the greatest. I'm not going to say greatest of all time, but he's going to be within that mountain when you talk about the NBA great players. Don't go anywhere, though. We took a little bit of a transition there. We'll swing back to Husker football. Don't go anywhere. Arens Tristan Gomes. We'll talk to you on the other side.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Play ball!
Haymarket Park is buzzing with excitement this summer. Grab your crew and get in on the fun. Be sure to catch all the daily specials and promotions this season, like Thirsty Thursday, Fireworks Friday, Souvenir Saturday, Family Fun Day Sunday, plus special events and discounts all summer long. Don't miss out on the action as the Lincoln Salt Dogs take on their biggest rivals and knock the ball out of the park. Visit saltdogs.com and see this week's promotions and grab your tickets.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Batter up! Join us this summer at Haymarket Park for 50 action-packed Salt Dogs games running now through August. Visit saltdogs.com for updates on everything you need to know about weekly promotions, giveaways, and special events. That's where you'll find the latest updates to make sure you catch all the excitement and never miss a homestand you want to attend. Haymarket Park is your ticket to fun all summer long. Visit saltdogs.com to get your tickets and unleash the fun.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska insider today.
Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
From the capital to castles, starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, race fans, to the finish line every Sunday night. I'm James Rowland. Join Bree Marie and me every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket FM or theticketfm.com for the finish line. All the latest news for local and national motorsports, all in one place. 93.7 The Ticket FM.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in segment number 2, going an hour here with Tristan Gomes to my left. We still got the Royals playing right now. Unfortunately, again, I got to keep mentioning it just in case you're just tuning in. We do still got some of the tower issues with the unfortunate weather. Mother Nature goes 2-0 on back-to-back days over the weekend. 4-0, though, on the bright side. Your Kansas City Royals leading it in the top of the 4th inning. Their record 59-60. Washington Nationals 47-71. And the Nationals currently down by 4 runs. With that being said, we're going to keep talking some Husker football here. Tristan, give me a grade on how the tackling was last year on a scale from 1 to 10. And when you use your memory and you think back.
I'm going to go with a 6. 5.
Okay.
5.
I'm pretty close to that ballpark as well. Which games really stick out to you? And I wonder if they're the same ones. Because I talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, I think the UCLA game was one.
Yep, that was my number one game.
Yeah, that
game.
Me. I mean, because it's weird because it seems like it was the games that we really struggled were the ones that we just kind of expected to just walk in there and win. Mm-hmm. And then like the Ohio State game, I look at that game, I was like, defense played pretty well. Yeah, like it seems like there weren't many missed tackles, especially against even greater athletes. So I think maybe a little USC. But then UCLA and USC
that referenced Ohio State and how that was our best tackling game.
Exactly.
Where they had it felt like 0 yards after contact.
Yeah.
Especially if they tried anything up the middle in that game. Illinois as well. I threw them in there. Yep. Just and that one was, I think your guys were just doubting. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot of these weren't ever effort problems for me. I did see good gang tackling, but that first guy would come in so hot and just not wrap up.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't matter if the rest of the gang was coming. The guy's already up and out of there.
Yeah. I mean, that goes to show why it was our secondary that led the team in tackles all of last year. And so that's one thing you hope. I mean, we're glad that we had some DBs that could make some plays, make some tackles, but typically you want to see that being your linebacker kind of group, that core that's making those tackles.
And then worried when I'll see if I can get the audio. We got Snow talking about it as well, but also why he brought it up yesterday. That has been the biggest concern for Matt Rule so far. And they asked, what has been the biggest things from fall camp so far? And he threw it out there that it was tackling. Let me see. I'll pull up real quick here. I know he says it pretty early. So here's Matt Rule. He's talking about the biggest takeaways, but he does throw in that the tackling needs a lot more work. So we'll hear Matt Rule talk about it as well.
To stop a guy like Dylan, you're going to have to get to the quarterback and affect the quarterback. So there's probably a lot of plays where, guys are blitzing, they have to pull up. And I just think on defense, a lot of good things being done on defense. I just think we have to continue to tackle. We have some elite running backs, and it's really hard to tackle those guys. And so our tackling is something that has to improve based upon, we did a Wednesday short yardage live period and today's live period. And we just need those reps. It's the first week of tackling. We're going to have to really improve that this week. You think about it, really 5 more practices till training camp is over and 9 practices until we start game week. So when I say over, like next Saturday, kind of as you get in the next week, you start a little bit of game planning for 4 days and then game planning full out. So
yeah, but he kind of goes on to some other subjects there, but just thoughts on, this is always a tough one for me to judge too, because limited contact now on today's college football. If they were playing in the Osborne era, those guys, they were lighting each other up and they knew how to tackle, especially when those offensive defenses are that good. And we struggled with the last year, and it sounds like we're just, when it feels like we're hearing we're so far ahead now, we're finally breaking through. This is year 3, but it feels like for some reason tackling's still staying behind. Is that just, hey, it's been a while, we're in fall camp, it just takes some time to get back used to it, or Do we have a legitimate problem there?
That's what I'm curious about, and especially maybe it does have to do a little bit with just kind of the rules, but also, you don't want guys getting injured. Because I mean, like Jay Foreman's been in here and saying that they were tackling all the time in the 90s, and like he was like, yeah, I probably like got a few concussions. Todd Euler says the same thing. He's like, yeah, we'd be in practice just button heads all the time, and you'd be like, oh yeah, like my brain doesn't feel too great, but we're going back at it again. So I think a little bit is part of the safety aspect. But also, I mean, you do kind of want your defense to be like dogs out there that are just like, I'm going to go make a play. I'm going to make a big hit. You don't want to be, laying out your own teammates to the point where they could get injured.
Yeah. You just want clean, good hits.
You want clean hits. Yeah. And I've always thought this when it comes to maybe the defensive line and the linebackers, like you almost kind of want some psychos out there, like some guys that are like, I don't feel pain. Like I'm going to go and just lay someone out and make a play. So maybe that's what we haven't seen enough of. I think we've seen it, in years past.
Bullock was the best at that.
Bullock was like that. Yeah, you saw him. He found a hole. He found the guy with the ball, and he was like, all right, I'm going to go lay someone out. Like,
I think that was Ohio State, right, where he laid someone out.
Exactly.
And it was like, it set the tone pretty early, and they were both a bit shaken up after it.
Yeah, so I hope that maybe the tackling is just because, I mean, we have Emmett Johnson. We have some good running backs that are tough to tackle. But it's something that you got to get off the field on third down, and you also can't be allowing 7-8 yards on first down. Like you got to make tackles early and often and get yourself off the field.
Yeah, and it was Gifford letting tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your last line of defense. Like that's not a great look when it's like, who does the most on your defense? The guy who's the last line.
The guy that's way back there. Yeah.
And obviously he did a good job making extra plays by recognizing it early and flying up. So obviously it's a little inflated, but yeah, I mean that concerns me quite a bit because that's how you walk into the schedules like we have laid out in front of us, and we're like, oh, this is a cakewalk. We're on paper. It doesn't matter, if you're the more talented defender, if you can't get that wrap up. Like, who cares how much faster and stronger you are if you're failing at the wrap up? Now, I will say maybe it is because those backs are just way better than we may have realized. I know Ives got hurt. You're hearing some new faces in there. It feels like they're figuring that out. Obviously, Emmett Johnson's going to be your one. I didn't know it was that loaded of a running back room either. So it's like, are we just struggling to tackle Emmett Johnson, or I'm unfortunately more on the side of our tackling needs some work.
Yeah.
And if we don't figure it out in those first 3 weeks, like that's probably a loss to Michigan.
Yeah. I'm on board with that 100%, especially because Michigan for years now has just had extraordinary offensive lines. They've had some really big guys that can just size up, and just hopefully for them, they want to just dominate the line of scrimmage and run the football. So if that's the case, Nebraska has to be able to combat that, and making tackles is huge. Minimize the yards after contact is number one, and hopefully that defensive line can, make some things happen, move the line of scrimmage just a little bit for those linebackers to step up and make some plays. So I'm completely on board with it, and I think
Ohio State struggled to tackle him, and we saw the result.
Exactly.
And that's a powerhouse right there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that just goes to show how important it is, because I think our secondary is going to be extraordinary. I think there are some big names out there, guys that are going to have even breakout years after some solid years last year. So in the passing game, I'm not too worried. But I think with the linebacker room and the defensive line, I would love for them to just, be almost psychopaths out there and just be dogs and making tackle after tackle.
Hopefully they feel that almost annoyed by how everyone has been talking about them the most. You kind of want that anger of like, stop being worried about me. Like we'll just prove everybody wrong. And I think you are right. You can make an argument that might be the best room on the entire team is that DB room. Like it is loaded with, you got talent there. You got veterans back there, and you got some young guys coming up as well. So you feel really great there. But of course, linebackers, defensive backs, we got to see some more here. Let's hear about Phil Snow now, talking about the challenge of being a good tackling team in week 1.
It's tough tackling anyway, because you watch these young players, everything is 7-on-7, and the mentality is not real football, right? It's all this other stuff when they're younger. So just to get players to tackle anyway is tough. But like you said, the first ball game, what you'll notice is missed tackles, turnovers, and special teams, big plays on special teams. Those are the 3 areas that normally determine the first game. So you're right. And we've been doing a lot of tackling, especially with pads on. Big plays on special teams. Those are the 3 areas that normally.
Real quick here, I just want to go back to, he says those 3 big things in that week 1 that he talks about that really affect and swing that game.
But like you said, the first ball game, what you'll notice is missed tackles, turnovers, and special teams.
And that sums up Nebraska's failure. For how long now? Missed tackles, special teams, and what was the third one? Now I'm blanking on all of them.
Turnovers.
Yeah. What has been Nebraska's turnover margin for the past? It's been woeful. I mean, it is so bad that it's almost an anomaly. Special teams, like those three things together, you will almost always lose.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I feel like maybe I could be wrong, but more often than not, I feel like when you're talking about turnovers with the offense, usually it comes down to the quarterback and, most of the time interceptions, costly interceptions. But Nebraska's fumbled the ball quite a bit, it seems like, in the past few years. I mean, even when Jeff Sims was here, that was just the struggle. That was a problem for the first start of the season. But just taking care of the ball. And there's so many games, especially those one-score games that Nebraska has just struggled with for years and years. Just think if you have one less turnover, or how many points did the other team score off turnovers that could have, been taken away or not even happened if just held onto the ball a little bit better. And so I think I'm really excited for this year because of those few things. I think Mike Eckler is going to step it up on special teams. I think that's going to be more of a strength now for this Husker team instead of a weakness. And then if the tackling game can just improve just a little bit and you take care of the ball and you force some turnovers, that's just the difference between maybe 2-3 wins in a season. And that goes from, last year's 6 wins to 9 wins. So I think he's spot on it. Those are the things that Nebraska, or that game 1 is going to come down to. But I think those are things that Nebraska recognizes that they can do better at.
Yeah. And one thing that's interesting, is these guys all seem to be on the same page of what they want to do. I was thinking about it, like, can you imagine getting a one-on-one? Like, you got to go into a meeting and the coaches are Mike Eckler, Dana Holgerson, and Phil Snow. Like, all those 3 guys are all pretty intense and they all have very similar, I'd say pretty similar style of coaching. Like, they're all pretty direct, not a whole lot of coach speak with them. I think those 3 guys right there give me a lot of hope. Like, this is the team, because they've been harping on that stuff. All 3 of them. I understand they're different positions, but they have been just harping on really kind of the same messaging over and over and over again. And that's why I wanted to repeat that one part with Phil Snow, special teams, the turnovers, tackling. And that has just plagued us forever. And to me, that's like more of a, you can rep it and rep it and rep it. But at a certain point, it almost feels like a culture thing.
Yeah.
Where we can do as many reps, but if you guys aren't 100% mentally locked in, really trying to push yourself, when we show up on Saturday, who knows where your mind's going to be at.
Exactly.
And that's where you even have, some of our best players in the past, like a Cam Taylor-Britt, muff a punt, because, I don't think it's a lack of effort from him, but, the entire culture of special teams has just been like, oh, here we go again. Let's just try to keep it clean.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to score. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm just trying to keep it clean. And it's like, when you do that, that's when the mistakes happen. So I like what I'm hearing a lot. Obviously, number one concerning thing for me is tackling. Odds of us getting it fixed by week 4. Yes or no? And even if we get it fixed, it doesn't mean we'll beat Michigan. Yeah. So I won't call you a liar if we have good tackling and lose to Michigan.
Here's what I'm hoping for is just maybe it's different when you're going against another team. And so maybe in practice, it's just like, all right, we're going against our own guys. Like, obviously, we don't want to see some of our stars get injured because of maybe a bad tackle or maybe something happens. But I think that moment that the Huskers get out in Arrowhead and they're facing Cincinnati, I think they're just going to be like, all right, let's go make some plays and, let's lay the wood out here. Let's hit some guys. And so I'm hoping to see I'm hoping that that's what we see from the defense. And I won't be surprised if we do. Maybe that's just the difference is, all right, we're in practice right now. We're going against our own guys. You put someone else on the other side of the line of scrimmage. We're going to show you that we can tackle.
I mean, the energy will be there for it. If someone gets one big hit, like, I mean, you will hear
erupt.
Yes. Like, you will hear a massive roar. Because like we've talked about before, that place feels like it's probably going to be like close to 90% Husker. Maybe even more than that. But with that being said, we do got to throw it to our final break here. We'll finish up with some UFC. It just became a lot more available and a lot more cheaper, maybe moving away from pay-per-view. Although Dana did bark back today, it's not a total separation from pay-per-view. So with that being said, we'll throw it to break. Don't go anywhere. Harrison Arens, Tristan Gomes, UFC on the other side.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Midwest Bank is proud to serve Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank making local decisions, supporting community organizations, and helping businesses succeed with 10 locations throughout the state, from Wisner to Deschler, Norfolk to York, and right here in Lincoln too. Whether you're opening a checking account, buying your first home, in need of an ag loan, or in search of cash management services for your business, we're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Link to Literacy's third annual Wordstock event will be at Antelope Park on Saturday, August 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a community book swap festival with fun for the entire family and for all ages. Enjoy food trucks, kids' activities, a reading corner with celebrity narrators, including Brian Halpin, President and CEO, Director of Parks and Recreation, UNL athletes, and more. And of course, free books for all kids and adults. Go to linktoliteracy.org to get the full story and then make your plans to attend Wordstock. Link to Literacy's third annual Wordstock event will be at Antelope Park on Saturday, August 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a community book swap festival with fun for the entire family and for all ages. Enjoy food trucks, kids' activities, a reading corner with celebrity narrators, including Brian Halpin, President and CEO, Director of Parks and Recreation, UNL athletes, and more. And of course, free books for all kids and adults. Go to linktoliteracy.org to get the full story and then make your plans to attend Wordstock.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
Hey racing fans, this is Bree Marie inviting you to join me and James Rowland for the Finish Line every Sunday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Catch up with the local dirt track drivers, national racers, and everyone you need to know about in the world of racing. Don't spin your wheels, hit the gas, and join us Sundays at 7 p.m. for The Finish Line on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age?
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arns and the ones and twos, wrapping up with UFC. We probably don't talk nearly enough UFC on the Ticket airwaves, and it's going to be a lot easier to do so now because now you do not have to buy every single pay-per-view that comes out. Every single numbered event in this new deal, if you have Paramount or CBS, you'll get to catch every single numbered fight card. So the number is UFC is coming to Paramount Plus and CBS in 2026. The company agreed to, and this is the best part, a 7-year deal. 7 years you get this $7.7 billion contract with the company. Dana White and Paramount announced on Monday. I'm hyped. I love this so much. It's been one of the hardest things to watch for me because it's like, how much do I want to pay? Is this fight card going to be good? And sometimes, especially on the weekends, it's, if you're at a party, it's like you got to try to convince everybody, like, hey, can you get this pay-per-view for me? If you're at a bar, you're like, hey, can you buy this pay-per-view and put on the game? It just, for the casual fan, it's been hard to access. So I feel like they've kind of plateaued on their fan growth. Plateau's strong word, but it's slowed down quite a bit. This is going to make it way more accessible, and I think it's a major win for Dana White and the UFC. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with it because I'll be honest, like I think when it's been a huge main event, I'll be like, I'll have a few friends. We'll be like, all right, like we'll pitch in and we'll do it. But
like Khabib and McGregor.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes. Like kind of something like that. But other than that, I feel like there's quite a bit of time where I'm like, do I want to pay $80 for this? I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough about the sport or know exactly everything about these guys. But then when it's like, all right, this is going to be so much easier with Paramount Plus and CBS for me to just tune in and start watching, it's going to be so much more enjoyable because I can understand the game or the sport without having to pay a whole bunch of money every single weekend, which I think is just going to be great. And like you said, it kind of plateaued in a sense, almost because it had its main fans, but it was tough. It was a tough sport to really get into because
and it already was a niche sport.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just think I almost compare it to like Formula One. And an example is just like Formula One switched to ESPN now. And every race is on ESPN now. And so it's easier for people to get into it and watch. And I'm hopeful that there's a few more maybe docuseries or things like that we can, track athletes, throughout just their journey and their time in UFC so we can get it more on a personal level like some other sports have.
I don't know if I want to do too much about it post-career. That might hurt how some people watch those fights. But again, like that's just how those UFC fighters like to do it. I mean, it's always crazy to me. Anthony Lionheart-Smith, I think 58 fights.
Mm-hmm.
And he might have gotten smarter from some of the hits because you hear about like what he was doing as a kid, and I'm never calling him stupid. I would never do, especially know what that guy can do. But he would tell you himself, like as a young kid, making some pretty reckless decisions. And after 58 fights, like you could believe he went to like Harvard or something. And the way he speaks and the way he's very thoughtful and very, just thinks before he speaks now.
Yeah,
it's crazy how some guys make it through beautifully, and other guys they just take one bad hit, but. On the bright side, we'll get to know all these guys now.
Exactly. Yeah. Every single weekend, it'll be nice just to be like, oh, what do we want to do? What do we want to watch? Boom. We got some UFC, and it's a fun sport to watch.
It really is,
it's just
especially with a group of friends.
Yeah. It's just tough to pay $80 every time for it. So it'll be a super fun sport to watch. And I'm really excited because I think I'm just going to get into it more because it's going to be so much more accessible.
Oh yeah, and there's some really great fighters now.
Mm-hmm.
And the skills get so much higher. And why I need to watch one, I don't even know who the guy's name was. This guy was in the heavyweight. He was 240 pounds. He did his spinning roundhouse kick to the face and knocked the guy out.
Yeah, that's just entertainment. Like that's just like, that's just that's peak entertainment.
It's terrifying.
And it's so terrifying. Yeah, but like cool. Now that I get to watch it. Way easier now.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's how far can this thing go? That's the final question I got for you. Like, can UFC surpass like some of the big sports? Like, how what is the ceiling for UFC?
I want to say that the ceiling is pretty high just because I think there's just a worldwide, fan base. There's fighters from everywhere, all around the globe. So it's not like it's just, a lot of the fights are here in the United States, obviously, but it's just a worldwide just fan base. So I think it could be huge. It could be so big, maybe, not to the caliber of like the NFL or anything like that, but it's going to be pretty extraordinary to see how quick this grows.
Yeah, and let's see. We got unknown texter. Chris wants to know, so does that mean the Ultimate Fighter will be on CBS/Paramount Plus or or still on ESPN? I think they got all out rights. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's all on CBS or Paramount. I don't know if they'll have anything on ESPN anymore. I'm trying to double check it right now. It could just be all the numbered fight cards as well. So I don't want to misspeak here. I'll have to double look into that. But the main thing is all those numbered fight cards. You get to watch that, and you don't have to, especially me when I was younger, you don't have to go maybe look for your mom's card and try to sneak it into the TV there. It's fantastic. Great move from the UFC in my mind, and really trying to get on top of. You're looking at what the WWE is doing with Netflix, and actually aren't the WWE and UFC partnered up now as well?
I believe so. I think I saw that somewhere. Yeah.
Okay, so UFC's just growing up big time right now. I don't know if it'll ever surpass like the major sports, but it's got an opportunity to make a hell of a lot more money, and more and more fighters. I think they'll be inspired more people to be fighters across the world now that you'll get to watch this.
Good work.
That being said, go ahead.
Good work, Dana. All I got to say, good work, Dana. We appreciate it.
Fantastic work. He's changed quite a bit. At one point, he didn't want the women fighters either, and he's like, you know what? That's right. I don't think he ever wanted to go away from the pay-per-view model, and he's like, you know what? It seems like a better move. So Dana White, he's been one of the better owners when you look at all of these major sports. With that being said, we got to get out of here, though. That's Tristan Gomez. I'm Harrison Arns. Don't go anywhere. I got Rudy joining me next.